Hey everyone, it's Robert and you're watching Sidestep Adventures. So I'm somewhere between Byron, Georgia and Macon, Georgia, and saw this old cemetery on the side of the road, and I thought I'd stop and take a look at it. And we're not going to study too much on this part of the cemetery or even that part because there's something else I want to show you. So I saw this area out here from the road and thought I would stop and take a look. And initially I didn't think that this was a cemetery that I would film or want to film, because as you guys know, we search for the lost and otherwise forgotten cemeteries. And I saw that this was kind of new and seemed to be well maintained, so I thought, well, this one isn't really one that I would film. You've got graves from the 50s, 70s, there's the 20s, and they're all pretty well kept up. And it looks like somebody's been out here doing some cleaning relatively recently. You can see there's some flat concrete markers that have been swept off. And look at these beautiful flowers that are blooming. It's been a pretty warm winter here in Georgia, so the flowers are blooming early, although it's a pretty cold day today. Now these are older right here. This is October 6th, 1893. It was an infant, William Newton Outler. There's another one, 1898 to 1898. And here's Mary Huntington, wife of Newton S. Outler, born December 24th, 1861, and died August 13th, 1936. And here's Newton S. Outler, May 16th, 1866 to January 4th, 1920. You can see there's a Masonic symbol at the top of his grave. And I think this is going to be a Confederate veteran. Yeah, CSA marker right there. And I want to say that's a Confederate flag right there. That's what it looks like. Yeah, that's what that is right there. Henry Huntington, father of Mary A. Huntington, November 27th, 1833, died March 13th, 1920. And here's, this is a Ori May Ware, wife of Joseph S. Outler, August 1st, 1894 to July 26th, 1939. And here's Joseph S. Outler, born July 22nd, 1894, died July 16th, 1987. I absolutely know nothing about this cemetery. I literally just saw it on the side of the road and stopped and checked it out. And if I didn't see what I'm about to show you, I probably would not have filmed it. I just wanted to point out that that stone that's on top of this unmarked grave. And we've got to look at this one over here. This is a Woodsman of the World stone. See if we can read a name on it. It looks like John Thomas Skipper, December 8th, 1861, died January 9th, 1923. Says gone but not forgotten. And these are some really cool stones. It was really interesting to see these. And at the bottom it says husband. I always like those stones. I've seen them occasionally, not very often, but I see them in old cemeteries sometimes. So that's this area. Just a quick overview. There's that part over there that we may walk through. Probably not. We're probably not going to walk over there because I want to take you guys out here and look at these, because this is some pretty interesting stuff out here. So we are already actually standing on graves right now. That looks like that's a headstone, and you can see a little bit of an indentation under those leaves. There's one right there, and there's more out there we'll talk about in just a minute. But there's a lot of old soda bottles out here. I'm gonna set this back down. I just want to show it to you guys. Dr. Pepper bottle right there. And here's Robert R. Rayleigh, Georgia, Private, 26th Infantry, 1st Division, January 24th, 1944 is when he died. And interestingly, on his gravestone is an old knee-high bottle. And so you're going to see a lot of flags out here while we're walking around. I saw that when I was here just a minute ago before I started filming. So someone's come out here and surveyed a lot of graves. So keep your eyes open, because we're going to see a lot of graves out here in these woods that are unmarked. Here's another Raleigh grave. It's Valley L, who was born 1880. And there is a stone right here. You can see under there's a concrete stone. There's a flag placed on it, but her death date was never finished etching into the stone, so they probably bought this stone before she died. Here's George L. we've got over here, who was born 1878 and died 1948. And so it looks like somebody is actually cleaning this cemetery, kind of trying to bring it back to life, which is really, really nice to see. It honestly kind of reminds me of a cemetery that I've been to recently, working on, that you guys have seen. You'll know which one I'm talking about, but where you go through the woods and there's just, you find all of these graves that kind of appear out of nowhere in the undergrowth. And that's kind of what it's like here. We'll look through there and find some of these graves, but I just want to point out there's a concrete block which could be marking a grave right there. There's some more stuff there. Of course, graves we'll look at in just a minute. And here's another one of those flags I told y'all to keep an eye out for, and you can see a piece of fieldstone marking an otherwise unmarked grave right here. Here's another veteran buried here. It's Willie Davis, Georgia, Private 327th Infantry Division. I'm sorry, Private 327 Infantry 82nd Division. Died February 16th, 1934. Here's another veteran, William Davis Jr., Georgia, S2 U.S. Navy, World War II, born May 28th, 1929, and died August 9th, 1973. And you've got this soda bottle resting on his grave, which, if you look, it was never opened, still has soda in it. And that's kind of interesting to see that. I wonder if somebody left that there for him when he died. And I got to point out, these flowers are blooming too here. It's really pretty. Those are a favorite flower of mine growing up in the South. But I'm assuming this is father and son here, Willie Davis and Willie Davis Jr. There's another blooming flowers. And so now we're going to start getting where the cemetery kind of gets hazy, but keep your eyes out. I'm going to keep my eyes out while I'm out here. You'll see graves. Like there is a flag probably marking a grave. There's fieldstone right here, which probably marked a grave. We've got some more marked graves right here. This was a handmade stone. It's Reuben Holland. Looks like there's no birth date, but died in 1922. Here's Frederick W. Holloway, born July 10th, 1908, died February 13th, 1911. Here's Mattie L. Holloway, August 2nd, 1875 to November 28th, 1918. And that's a footstone for her. Is footstone for Frederick right there. Sometimes you guys ask me about this, or I get some comments on videos. If I don't read that stone and you see another stone in the video, it's probably a footstone. But here's another one. This is another handmade grave. Patrick Gibson Holloway, born February 1853, died January 1943. So before we leave this area, you've got some more field stones right there, which could be marking graves right there and there. And I think there are a lot out here, more than we're probably gonna see today. There's flag, a field stone. I just stepped on a field stone right there. So those could be graves, or those are graves, I guess I should say. And these woods, other than the passing cars back there, these are some pretty peaceful woods. It'd be a lot more peaceful if those cars weren't screaming down the highway. But so we're gonna kind of walk a little slower here, try to catch stuff. Like there's a field stone right there that's probably marking an unmarked grave, and these are always kind of hard for you guys to see on camera, show up really clear when I'm out here. But let me use my light and kind of point it out to you. There's an indention here, which is a turn that up all the way, there you go. There's an indention here, which is most certainly a grave. Another smaller one right there, probably a child's grave, and another smaller one right there. There's a truck coming to a halt on the highway right there too. I don't know why. Here's another grave that's been, you can see that these have been recently cleaned off, just from the dirt level. So these are all covered up in leaves until recently, when somebody came out here. I can't speak. These were not cleaned off until recently when somebody did it. So I don't know anything about the cemetery or who's been out here, but we always want to praise people that come out and take care of these cemeteries. So here's a marked one out here. It's a little gone. Looks like a G or a C, either Little Gon or Little Con, infant son of J.J. and C. Duran. Born August 26th, 1898, died September 7th, 1899. At the bottom it says, "Suffer little children to come unto me." All right, so kind of walking, you can see that's the grave I just read, and there's the cemetery we looked at when we first came in here. So I thought I'd walk out this way just a little bit. I see another flag over there, and see if we can't spot any more graves. I do see lots of indentions in the ground out through here, which are probably graves. I don't see a bunch of field stones like I did a minute ago. Let's see right here, get my light on it. Hopefully you guys can, yeah, you can see the light on the camera. That looks like a grave there, and right there, shallower indentions, but still look grave sized. So I saw this flag right here and thought maybe there was a grave in there. There's lots of bottles that have been thrown here. But I don't see anything that would tell me right away that it's a grave. All right, so I'm not seeing a whole lot out here in this section of the woods. I'm gonna go ahead and turn around and show you guys some more stuff back over here. Right after we walk down and over this little hill here, I want to look down this hill, and I'll take you guys along with me. Okay, I don't see anything else down there. Let me know if you guys see anything. Actually, I see something right here. Fieldstone. It could be marking a grave. I don't see any indention or anything that says for sure it's a grave. Okay, actually, I guess I'll keep rolling because this looks like a grave right here. Yeah, these are more graves right here. Right there. There's some fieldstone Get closer to it so you guys can see it. There's a grave right here and right there with the fieldstone marking in it. So these graves do go down this hill. So I absolutely know nothing about this place. Just drove past it, stopped and decided to do a video. I don't get out this way very often. So I know you guys are really amazing at doing research and finding out details about places. So if y'all can let me know anything, for sure leave a comment, and let's find out together about this place. And if you have questions about the videos, I would highly encourage you to read the comments, because there's a lot of information in the comments that may not be in the videos. There's some very old barbed wire growing up in the center of this tree. This tree was probably like this big around, or like that big around, when that barbed wire was stapled to it, and it's just grown up around the barbed wire. So here's another one that I wanted to point out that I saw a minute ago. This is definitely a grave here that's sunk in really far. You can see the fieldstone right there and the indention of the grave right there. And I didn't see these a minute ago. Before I get over to them, I'll show you this one. That's another clear indication that that's a grave right there, the indention in the ground. And here's, you can see somebody has swept these off not that long ago. There's nothing on there, it's just a brick pad, probably from the size it was a child. Here's another concrete pad right here, an adult sized grave. No markings on it. And another one right here. I thought I saw letters, but I guess not. So it's just another unmarked grave. Look how that tree's kind of grown up between those two. And we've got, oh, there, I just stepped on one right here. Look at this. There's another one right there, and so there's probably more marked ones, well, marked with bricks at least, out here under this leaf litter, and you wouldn't know it unless you stepped on it. There's a fieldstone. There's a grave, and you can see that one was marked with a flag. That one is marked with a flag. And that's where we kind of started, looking at all of those marked graves. So I'll walk this area down here where Cody is and see if I see anything else. I'm not really seeing anything else down here, so I'm probably going to go ahead and close this video out so I can get back in the car where it's warm. I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this today. It's a pretty fascinating place. Always interesting. I think it's always interesting to see a cemetery where it's cleared off and the graves are well marked and looks like it's taken care of, like the initial two that we saw on the roadside. And then as soon as you exit those gates, so frequently I've found that outside of a well-marked cemetery are many unmarked graves like we've seen here today. And well, I didn't mean to say unmarked graves. It's unmarked graves outside of a well-marked cemetery, but also forgotten graves too, like we've seen out here. And it's pretty cool that somebody's come out here and started cleaning it up. It's always nice to see that stuff's being taken care of and that these people haven't been completely forgotten all the time. All right guys, so I hope you enjoyed seeing this today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Let me know. I know you guys can look up some names, find out some great details about this place. Let me know what you guys find out, and I'll see you on the next adventure.